Hey guys, thanks for listening to the Spiritual Grind. We hope you enjoy it, and don't forget to follow, hit the little bell for your notifications when the podcast is posted, and follow, and share with your friends. We hope you enjoy it. Leave a comment if there's any topics that you want us to speak about.
Like, follow, share.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jenny. Good morning, Dr. Jenny.
Good morning.
We're back on the podcast. We are in studio today doing another awesome podcast for the Spiritual Grind.
Yay.
The Spiritual Grind is the daily task that we as spiritual beings like to embark upon and have better explanations for.
One of my favorite things to do.
I love it.
Listen,
Yeah.
I have a new favorite thing that I'm working on.
What's that?
I wrote a book.
So did I.
Yeah, I know.
We're
We're
doing it
on a
together.
new journey.
Yep. We're almost to the publishing level.
Yeah, we're about to go into the publishing part of it.
I'm excited to see how that goes.
Ooh, I'm super excited. It's been so much fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
It already is a lot of fun to me.
We will let you guys know about it as soon as we get them ready.
Yeah.
And they're out there and where they're available at and all that stuff.
Book launch coming up.
Whoop, whoop. Coming to a town near you. That's right. Book launch, baby. That's right.
Double book launch.
Double book launch. Say that 3 times fast.
You get double the enjoyment. Wasn't there a gum commercial?
Oh, yeah. Double your pleasure, double your fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Back in the
What was it? Double mint gum. That was
back
double
in
mint.
the day.
Yeah.
Wrigley's.
Wrigley's double mint gum.
Double your pleasure.
Double your fun with Wrigley's spearmint gum.
Wow, we should go on radio and do jingles.
I guess we should. Jingle, jingle, jingle. Oh,
Jingle my jangle.
jingle, jingle. You want to know what today's topic is?
Yes, do tell.
So I'm going to kind of give it a little bit of a prelude here.
Prelude and cream.
It is a wait a minute, hang on. Prelude coming. Sorry, had to play with that. So we as spiritual beings have
We needed a little magic sprinkled
a little
in.
magic sprinkled in there.
We love
today.
magic.
So we as spiritual beings have a tendency. I can't clump everybody in. I, as a spiritual being, have a tendency to I try to navigate life without hurting or bothering others. I try to accomplish my life with morals and ethics, and try to my best to really not negatively affect anything and leave everything better than I found it. And we do that a lot of times. We self-sacrifice things, but we don't really realize that we're doing it.
Yeah.
And when we do that, and when you figure out that you are doing it, the way it feels to give yourself the permission to stand up and fight when you need to fight for something almost feels like you're humanly interjecting into something. And
Say more.
so, like, for example, when you're going through a spiritual life and you really try not to affect anybody else's bubble in a negative manner, you will self-sacrifice and allow things to happen until your cup runneth over.
Okay.
And giving yourself the permission to stand up and fight for what to right and fix those things that we have self-sacrificed when we've been wronged kind of can feel like we're humanly interjecting. And
So that feels like what? Use your emotional guidance system and say what that feels like.
Well, it starts with anger. You get mad about it, and then you work through your emotions to where you get neutral in it, and you're like, you know what? I'm tired of playing it. I'm tired of doing this. I'm going to stand up for what's right.
Okay. And then that feels better?
Yes, when you get to that
or
neutrality
does that
spot.
feel yucky too?
Well, it bounces. It yo-yos for me, and that's where I'm at in my conversation. Is I bounce back and forth from excited about and proud. I'm going to stand up for myself or whatever that is, then it goes over to, golly, man, why do I have to do this? Why am I in this situation where I have to do it?
Yeah.
And so you yo-yo a little bit, and it makes you feel very uncomfortable about your world.
I can see that.
And so that's where my topic is today, is giving yourself the permission to, there's an old phrase. If you can't stand up for one thing, you have to find something to stand up for. And standing up for yourself, that was an old phrase. It was back years ago. I learned it in personal development class.
Okay.
But everybody should stand up for something, because nobody's ever going to stand up for you until you stand up for yourself. And that's kind of where that was, and where this topic goes for me is, when is it okay to give yourself permission to quit self-sacrificing, to stop it? Just stand up for you, because nobody's going to stand up for you unless you do it yourself.
Okay.
In today's world, it used to be, people would stand up for each other. And nowadays, man, it's like every man for themselves.
It can certainly feel that way, for sure. Was that a rhetorical question, or did you want me to answer it?
Well, it's rhetorically answered, I guess. I don't know where this podcast is going, but it's just my topic, because it's time for people to realize that being on a spiritual journey does not mean you have to be submissive. You don't have to bow down to everybody or everything. It's okay to stand up for what you believe in.
Yes.
It's okay to stand up for what you know is right.
Right. I think the reminder I want to give, though, is standing up for what you believe in for yourself, or standing up for yourself and coming out of this self-sacrifice template doesn't have to necessarily be a fight, and it doesn't necessarily have to be an ugly journey.
Right.
That's the first thing I would bring to light. And the other part of it is I want to remind you and others that sometimes changing people's lives by way of your actions is what was a negotiation between the two of you and is supposed to happen. And so you don't get tangled up humanly in I don't want to change people's lives, because that could very well be the mission itself in that particular event, scenario, whatever situation. And so if you have a belief that you don't want to change anybody's life because you view what will happen as a possible uncomfortable situation for them, and you don't want to be the root cause of that, you may be not honoring the underlying mission that you and that other human on a soul level agreed that you would be that person for that other individual, so that they could experience the contrast in a negative way for their healing, their growth, their evolution. So you got to remember that part of, and that goes kind of deep. I get it. It's kind of rabbit
totally
hole.
Right. Yeah, it's.
But you just want to make sure that you don't. Your human opinion of, okay, if I do this thing, I have created an opinion that if I do this, these things are going to happen, and they may or may not happen, first of all. And when they do happen, it's going to cause this, this, and this for that person. And you have to remember, it may not cause this, this, and this for that person, unless that person on a spiritual level with their own higher self is meant to experience it that way. So you're kind of, in essence, allowing the monkey mind to create your version of what you think the story is going to do and how the action taking that you're doing is going to play out. And it may not be completely truthful story. So then you're acting on a story that you created based on your perspective and your opinions, and it will prevent you from doing what you're supposed to do within it.
I totally agree with you. I think where I'm coming from a little different perspective,
Okay.
is throughout the process of of self-sacrificing and all those things. I allowed myself to be things happen and things to be done to me and whatever. And now that I'm got to that point to where that switch is flipped, it's not about worrying about what's going to happen to the other person. It's about it's like that, God, now I got to do this. But
what I'm trying to get you to point out is if it doesn't feel good, there's something more to look at.
Oh no, I agree with that.
It should feel better.
Agreed. It does for me. It's in a feel better place than I was in.
Okay.
And so it is up the emotional ladder for me to stand up and fight for what's right and for myself and quit self-sacrificing. And whatever that journey brings, I have to be open to, but it's still, you get that human response of, dang, I gotta do this. You know what I mean? Like it's regret. But, and so I guess where I want the podcast to go is making sure that we understand what you just said. Is this stuff is journey. A lot of it's contracted. We create it with our intentions and our beliefs, and the world that we're in is definitely our own individual world that we have created. And so that what I'm viewing as self-sacrifice was just steps in or parts of a play that is playing out, and that I have signed up for. I have a script, and I'm going through the processes of it through my intentions and beliefs. But my human has that tendency to be like, holy cow, again, or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I want people to understand that when you get to that point, and for me, because I'm kind of working through this right now on air with you guys, when we get to that point to where you're fed up enough of something, it is okay to not look at it as if you self-sacrifice, but look at it in a way that you are just playing a part in a script, and it could be a contractual obligation. It's okay to not allow yourself to go into a negative thought process. Clear the beliefs and set the intentions appropriately, that everything works out the way as it should.
Well, I mean, yes, but it's also an opportunity for you to get a little more clear on taking your own accountability of what your reality is showing you within it too. And that if it's bothering you and it's creating some sort of emotion on the emotional guidance system, that it's divulging to you that you're ready for an internal change, an
Agreed.
internal upgrade, whether it be letting go of a belief or pattern or program or habit or updating it or whatever. It's telling you that it's time and that you're strong enough and you're ready to let this one go or modify it or something. So don't forget that aspect of it either.
Understood. No, I am 100% on board with you, because there's many different directions that this can go, and how many directions we have to be open to. Because when you make the decision to stand up for what you believe in and what you know is the right, morally and ethical thing to do, for me, it runs through this gauntlet of different scenarios and stuff in my mind, and I can't allow that to overpower me and let the monkey mind in. I just have to allow things to be what they're going to be, and set the intention that it works out perfectly. Do you agree with that?
I do somewhat. Yeah. We create our own reality. So if I did what?
You went.
I smacked you.
You smacked me.
I want to make sure that we understand that we create our own reality, and the situations and circumstances that come up in our reality, at the end of the day, they're still mirroring back to us what we can do to improve ourselves through our beliefs, patterns, and programs. And so, don't forget to look at that part of it, because that's, in essence, that's basically what is being shown to you is, hey, you're good. You're done with this.
Yo, dog, you're good.
Let's do something with it. But hey, I have a question for you.
Okay.
How do you call an amoeba?
I don't know.
Do you know what an amoeba is?
Well, yeah.
You call them on a cellular phone.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the dad joke portion of the spiritual grind.
Me and Alexa had a moment this morning, and I found it quite comical. It tickled my funny bone. I get it. I do. I get it.
That was
It's a play on words.
That was dad joke
I was
central.
like, wow, Alexa, that's pretty clever, girl.
That's a dad joke.
It is?
It's like those three aliens.
Oh my gosh, those guys are so freaking hilarious. I laugh all day long at those silly things, and them being in the shape of the alien, and they're laughing and doing that. It just cracks me up, man. It is a tool I use often when I'm in a fussy spot, in a grumpy spot, and I can't seem to find a feel better place.
Until Alexa to tell you the joke.
I can always get Alexa to tell me a joke, or go to those alien guys and watch a little bit of them. And
I have them on. I subscribe to them too, but they haven't been posting anything new lately.
No, I agree, but I can still go to the old stuff.
I got a joke for you. Where are turkeys from?
I don't know.
An egg, duh.
I think that one was worse than mine. That was more.
The crowd loved it.
Oh my God. More daddish than mine was.
Now I lost my train of thought. And so I'm in a place now to where I feel better about it. I'm kind of releasing the energy about it, because, man, that energy is heavy. Energy is real heavy. It
is heavy. It can be heavy.
And I'm open and receptive to where Spirit's going to take us and what we're going to do in our next journeys with writing the book and all that stuff. I'm very hopeful and very intentionally enjoying writing the book.
Yeah, so for the listeners, when you're going through a moment like that where it is very, very heavy energy, maybe a new way to look at it would be from a place of curiosity, and maybe a little bit of excitement could be sprinkled in there, because you say to yourself, yeah, this is a heavy section, and it feels a little difficult. But what I know from past experience that I'm really excited about is when I come out of this on the other side, it's going to feel so much better, and I'm going to have grown and evolved. And so I look forward to what's going to happen after this.
Yeah.
And then playing this is something I do. I play a kind of a what if game. And so I take different scenarios of the possible outcomes, and I play with them, and I say, okay, well, what if this happens? Or what if this happens? And I try to, with each what if, put a more desirable storyline to it. And I just kind of keep building on that. Ooh, yeah. And then what if this happens and this happens? It's kind of like, did you ever play House, for example, with a friend, or play, some sort of robotic
game? Did I
game?
play House?
Oh my God. I opened a door. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize. So for me, as a human being brought up as a female, we're taught to play house.
Uh-huh.
So when we play house with like our best friend, for example.
In your little kitchen.
Yeah, in our little kitchen. The scene would go something like this. And we'll call her Beth. Best friend Beth.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to be the mom and you're going to be the kid. And I'm going to say this. Come on, Beth, let's get ready to go to the store. And you're going to say, okay, Mom, I'll be ready in just a minute. And you like plan out verbally the whole scene or the script of that section of you playing house.
Mm-hmm.
And so the what if game that I play is kind of like that.
Okay.
I take the uncomfortable situation. I acknowledge that, you know what, if it's coming up and if it's showing in my reality, it means I'm ready and strong enough and willing to either let it go or reformat it.
Mm-hmm.
And then what I do while I'm kind of waiting for that to happen is I play the what if game, and I kind of try to get myself more and more to a higher frequency place by adding, I guess, since we're in the book mode, I'm adding more scenes to it, and each scene is a little bit higher vibration on the emotional guidance system. So I'm in that kind of junky place of dealing with, I don't know, an employee.
Yeah. And
I've had to maybe dismiss them of their job. I'm just using an example.
Okay.
And I don't really like doing that. And it's a pretty heavy energy.
It is a real heavy
because
energy.
It's a good example of how you quandary with, I'm changing this person's journey, but then I have to remember that if it wasn't in their journey to be done with this job, this wouldn't have presented. And if I hadn't have agreed to be the person that relieves them of this job so they can go on and find their perfect job or their next place they're supposed to be, my higher self would not have put me in this situation.
Agreed.
Because I trust my higher self always puts me in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
So to make myself feel better, or to help myself feel better in that situation, I will play the what if game, and I'll say, okay, so what if by me releasing this individual from this job, they then are motivated to go out and find that job that really, really accentuates their joy and their desire. And they find that job because I have been able to implant in them a educational platform that gives them the confidence to go and seek that job they weren't able to seek before.
Okay.
Or what if they go and they apply for that job with their newfound empowerment that I helped form, and they find the perfect job and they become the president of the company and they are loving it and whatever in that scenario. If it's me and I am the receiver of such a scenario, then I say the same kind of simple thing. Okay, what if by me being relieved of this job, it gives me the opportunity to open new doors to where I can go on my next journey and find that perfect job that I absolutely can't wait to get up to go to and do and have a deep-seated love for and passion. And so I just kind of play that what if game. And then I'll sit for a few minutes and visualize in my mind's eye what that version of me would actually look like and what they would do along that journey. And so sometimes it would be that I would take a moment to visualize myself going on the interview going amazingly well, me getting the job, shaking hands with the interviewer and accepting the job for exactly the right amount of money that I wanted, doing whatever the job is. And that further adds to the energetic trajectory of creating that better feeling place, but also the scenario that you're wanting to happen. So those are some techniques I use along my journey and when I find myself in those situations.
Are you ever going to answer the stone's question?
I'm sorry?
Are you ever going to answer the stone's questions? They've been raising their hand forever. And you never called on that poor stone. That poor hand's been sitting up there in the air forever.
Nobody knows what you're talking about.
It's raising its hand and you haven't called on it.
Listen, guys, we need to get video up and going. Let me set the scene for you. I sit at my microphone, and here in my space, I have a palm reader hand that's made out of wood, and it's got a picture of like the sun, the moon, different hieroglyphs that represent different things for me. And it's a hand that's kind of in the high five stance, and it stands up, kind of like somebody raising their hand. And then gathered around are all these different stones of different shapes and sizes, points, colors, spheres, all of that. That's what my space looks like. His obviously looks much different. So he's commenting on the fact that I have this hand and I'm not calling on it to answer the question. I don't know what the question is.
But no, you're totally right. That's a great way to change perspective and make it a feel better place, is to create those what if positive moments, not negative. Don't let the what if be negative. Make the what if positive.
Yeah, if you can get there.
Sometimes that's a little tough.
Sometimes it is.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's a struggle.
It is for me anyway. It may not be for anybody else. Sometimes when the what ifs come in, like the first 3 or 4, it's kind of always the worst case scenario what if.
Yeah. And those can be beneficial because,
I agree.
If you set yourself up with the worst case scenario and then you come up with solutions to those worst case scenarios, then there's nothing really to be concerned about or afraid of. And that kind of dissolves and dissipates into nothingness because there's no validation to it.
Yeah, I agree. Interesting. So now, as the day goes on for me, I'm feeling a little better about life and trying to explain to the audience, because we're going to have people that listen to this, and I want everybody to understand that we put out scenarios that people go through, and we try to talk through that for them.
Right, using them as examples. We try to use real life examples that we've experienced with clients or even with ourselves.
Yeah, with ourselves. And it's
as best as we can, and divulging as much of the facts that we're at liberty to divulge.
Yeah.
But where are you going with that?
Oh, I just wanted people to understand that these are scenarios that we want to bring out there to talk through, because people go through these. There are challenges that pop up where people have self-sacrificed for years, and when it does pop up into the reality that the self-sacrifice is not beneficial anymore, is generally a spiritual journey that you have set forth the time, and this is when it's going to end, and it's okay to be on top of it, but this is not a cookie cutter answer for anybody.
No.
I guess that's what I'm trying to get at.
None of the information that we put out there is cookie cutter.
Right. So you have to find ways to balance your own emotional ladder and your own beliefs and your own intentions, and figure out what is it that I'm learning in this. What's the solution? Let the what if stories come and go, and just allow yourself to be in the moment with it, and figure out, or not really figure out, allow the journey to open doors for you and change the way you want to feel, because you obviously are no longer resonating with that feeling. And when you no longer resonate, then you have to, it's okay to do something different.
Yep. It's okay to plug in and update your processing system. And it doesn't have to be at midnight.
No, it don't.
But you do want to listen to the notifications of when it's time.
Yeah, you do. And see the signs and watch for those roadmap of your journey.
Yeah, because, one thing to remember is that if you're not listening to when it's time, it'll keep presenting itself, because you'll keep having that same frequency, which gives you that same perspective and the same belief template that you're seeing your reality through. And so because of that, inadvertently, you'll keep recreating similar situations until you finally are like fed up enough to where you stop and look at it and listen and hear and do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
Universe will keep matching that frequency and bringing it to you.
And just realize that things change, and that's okay. Change is part of us as humans.
Change is the only constant.
Yeah, because we're here for the human experience.
Right. Change is good. Change is fun.
Yeah, change is good. Change is fun. I agree. I mean, there are parts of me as a human that I struggle with it as well, but I know spiritually it's good. Humanly, I still battle with that sometimes, and I know there's a lot of people that do too. A lot of people don't like change.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. I mean, but that's a programmed thing.
It is.
You know, back in the day, way, way before us, change was viewed as not good.
Agreed.
You know, the society, they programmed everybody to go to college, get your education, find your job, and stay there forever.
Even that's changed.
Even buy a house and put it on a 30-year note and pay it off and live in it forever.
Yes.
Ew.
How boring is that?
Ew.
And
Hell.
I lost my train of thought. That thought raced right through and took off.
You're done with it.
I'm done with it.
You're a whole new you now.
I am. I agree. I kind of feel blank a little bit, actually. Huh.
Blank canvas.
Yeah.
To
That's
bring
cool.
forth the history or to leave it where it's at.
I don't even know what to say now. I'm lost.
You're not lost.
But I was found.
You're not lost.
I know. Just in a spot of neutrality, I think.
Which is a beautiful place to be sometimes whenever you have an opportunity to have things brought to your awareness and poop them out.
You said poop.
I did, because sometimes it's fun to poop.
Sometimes it's fun to say.
It is. That's what I meant.
It's kind of like moist. That's a fun word to say, too.
You know what? That's crazy, because there's a lot of people that hate that word. Like, is there a...
My armpits are so moist.
Is there
today.
a phobia, an actual diagnosed phobia of saying or hearing the word moist? I'd be curious to know, because there's a lot of people.
Moist.
There's an individual that works for us that does not like that word. I'm like, it's just a word. What does it mean? Like, what does it mean in your reality? It's so crazy and funny to me.
You know, I used to have an employee years ago, and she hated the word thrust, because we used to say we would thrust a payment through. And that's how because back in the day when you would do electronic payment from bank to bank,
Yeah.
you literally had, like on our bank, it actually said thrust when you were on the computer.
Right.
Or when you called, they would say, do you want me to thrust that through? I don't know what it stands for in the banking world. I'm sure it stood for something back then, but this employee of mine hated that word.
How funny. It's just a word.
She's like, would you quit saying that? That sounds so disgusting.
Wow, that's crazy.
It is. How do you have a phobia of a word?
I don't know.
I've never had one.
I mean, the only thing I could think of is if she had some sort of traumatic event around sex.
Maybe. Are you guys saying that, Jane?
It would, as a paraanthropologist who studies people and minds, I would be interested to talk to that individual to find out what
Why is that word
life
so harsh?
experiences have been tied to that word for her and what it's triggering.
It became an ongoing joke. Everybody tried to use thrust in the sentence all the time.
Of course. I could see that totally.
Hey, would you thrust me that pencil?
Especially if it annoys somebody.
Yeah.
It's fun to make them the butt
But of
of the thrusting joke.
Yep. You turned that into a weird
I
phrase.
did nothing of the sort. I just chose to put it in a sentence.
That is such a moist topic. You made my armpits moist. It's so to kind of turn it all back around. We when you go through these things, and I think one of the biggest parts of the spiritual grind that everybody should understand is it's okay to talk through it. It's okay to be in it. It's okay to live in the moment, and it is completely okay for you to allow yourself to be in the moment as well.
It is. But in addition to that, it's okay to just be the observer
And
and not
be,
get directly involved in it.
Agreed.
Or even if you are pulled into it, it's okay to take yourself out of it and say, no, new boundaries, I'm setting them. I am not going to be a part of this. It's okay to not
I shall not
jump
play
around.
anymore in that pool.
I have spoken.
I have spoken.
It's okay to take yourself out of it, especially if it's a place that is uncomfortable and it's causing yucky feeling on your emotional guidance system, and you're not quite at the place where you can find the belief or pattern. Sometimes you got to take a break from being in the mucky water and come out of it so that you can have a different perspective. And that's because the problem and the solution don't occupy the same frequency.
Yes.
And so if you're too deep in the problem or the contrast, you may need to put that on hold and stop participating in it so that you can get to a different frequency or closer to the frequency of the solution, which may be, okay, it's time to get rid of this belief so that you can actually hear it or see it or get the message or read the sign.
I agree. The vibrational level of all of that, it changes pretty dramatically when you free it up.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Even to the point where I've had clients say, the minute that it releases, they get...
okay, I'm done with my session. See you later.
No, I'm saying they get physical symptoms.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I feel dizzy. I feel lightheaded. I feel light.
I'm crying.
I feel, moist in the armpits.
Because you thrusted that freedom.
They are overtaken with tears.
Yeah.
That happens on a chemistry level and on an energetic level. Because whenever you release something, tears represent letting go, but they also are washing away the chemicals that were tied to that, giving the body on a cellular level permission to wash away that chemical that's no longer necessary and creating new chemicals and redoing the neural pathway around that topic.
Yeah.
So, and that's a study scientifically that you could look up if you're having trouble putting the pieces together. You can go do research on those things.
Agreed.
There's studies you can read about it.
Well, I think the takeaway from me today, after working not only through our talk time, but through this podcast, is a takeaway for me is confidence within yourself. That the contractual obligation is you're completing is a better place, and it's okay to give yourself the permission slip to be whoever you are within it.
Yeah, and not only that, but sometimes, like you started out saying, you have a hard time whenever you think that you're going to affect somebody's journey.
Yeah.
Remembering that it may be the actual mission to affect that person's journey in that way.
Consume this message after reading.
And you mean like eat it?
Yeah, that's, that used to be the
James
top
Bond
secret,
way.
the top secret paper it said at the bottom of it, consume paper after reading.
Right. And so on Pink Panther, he eats the paper.
Or this message will self-destruct. Right. And then...
And so just remembering that you can release that once you've been the character in their play for them. But you got to check in with it and just see what's the purpose. Ask the question.
Yeah.
And then listen for the answer.
I agree.
And if you're still kind of feeling yucky, take some of your tools out of your toolkit. Get yourself to feeling better which will raise your frequency, which will then put you in more of an alignment with being able to hear the information that's coming to you from your higher self, which lives all the time at the higher frequency.
Love it. You're awesome.
No, you're awesome.
No, you're awesome.
You're awesome.
Well, I think I feel pretty complete with this topic.
Yeah. Don't forget I wrote a book, man.
I know, right? We wrote books. Y'all pay attention and wait for the release. We'll let y'all know.
Book launch coming your way.
Double book launch coming your way.
Ooh, double.
Ooh, double book launch.
Double book launch. I feel like that was
a little weird, huh?
A little bit weird. That was a Halloween laugh.
Editor, cut that out.
Cut that out.
That reminded me of that Brad. What is his name? The little guy that does the comedic, and he told that story the other day of when he met John Stamos and Saget, Bob Saget, but it was pretty funny. If y'all haven't heard that stand-up comedian, he's a little person. His name's Brad, I think, Brad McDonald or something like that. But look up that skit. It was pretty funny. Anyway, I feel pretty complete. Guys, if you have any spiritual grinds that you want to talk about, it's okay to comment, send us a message, whatever you want to do. Go to the website. You can email through the website. You can message on the website, on the message board. And
we'll grind them out.
Right here for you, because, we grind too every day. We run through the spiritual grind every single day, and we're here with you. We're here for you and with you. Editor, it's okay. That's Dr. Jenny making that noise.
Sorry, I was playing with my blue ball.
Did you ever answer the question?
I always answer all the questions.
You guys, don't forget to like, follow, and share. And tell your friends about it, man. Put it on Facebook. And don't forget to
ring that bell.
Hey, guys, everybody have an awesome day.
Ring the bell.
You forgot to love you.
Love you.